Hey, y'all, you'll have to excuse my appearance. I just got back from an air show. My son loves going to those, so we went out today to Havelock, the Cherry Point Marine Base. So if you've never been to a military air show, I highly recommend it. It's an awesome thing to see our military at work. But anyway, if you think that God can't use you anywhere you go, I want y'all to hear my story. I've never gone live before, so it was just too much to tell in a text. So about a month ago, my son said, Mom, the air show's coming up. Can you please get tickets so we can sit on the bleachers? And I said, okay. So I ordered 9 tickets, would be enough for my family to go. But as the days approached, we realized yesterday that we were going to have 4 extra tickets. So I told my daughter-in-law she was going with me. And she started texting people, and I started texting people. We could not find anybody to take these 4 tickets yesterday. And so I kept hearing God say, it's going to work out, it's going to work out. Well, this morning we left at 5:30 in the morning to come to Havelock, and I still had not found anybody to take these tickets. So we got on in the gate, and we were so excited. We actually got there before it started. And if y'all know, there's thousands and thousands of people. Somebody probably knows how many. My guess is probably 5,000 to 7,000 of people that goes to these air shows. But anyway, so we got on in the gate. We found our bleacher seats, and I sat there for a while, and then I remembered about the tickets. So I got the 4 tickets that I had extra, and I went on back out the gate. So I said, well, I'm going to find 4 people to give these tickets to. No problem. There's thousands of people. So I started looking for people, and I looked to see if they had the wristband showing that they were already in bleacher seats or whatever. But then I heard God say, the people you're looking for, it's going to be 2 adults and 2 kids. I said, oh, okay, well, that's pretty easy, you know. So I start looking, but then I'm looking and I see 1 adult with 2 kids, or 2 adults with 1 kid, or 4 adults or 3 adults. I do not see 2 adults with 2 kids. So God's like, keep looking. But then he adds something extra to it. He says, okay, you're going to see 2 adults and 2 kids, and they're not going to have chairs. I said, okay, well, already having a hard enough time finding the 2 adults and the 2 kids, but now I have to add another element, because God said that these 2 adults and 2 kids are not going to have chairs. So I'm standing there and I'm looking, and I still see nobody. So, because I think I did find 2 adults and 2 kids, but they had chairs. Well, then I'm like, God, I'm not finding my people. He said, you just keep looking, they're there. But then he adds another element, y'all. He says, okay, not only am I going to have 2 adults and 2 kids, and they're not going to have chairs, but this time he tells me the man is going to be wearing a red shirt. I said, God, are you serious? And he said, start looking for him. He's wearing a red shirt. And I start looking, y'all. I was kind of relieved, because I said, well, this will be pretty easy. And I'm just looking out. How hard is it going to be to find a man wearing a red shirt? Well, I see men wearing red shirts, but they don't have kids, and there's not 2 adults and 2 kids, and they're like old people. And then I saw blue shirts, lots of blue shirts, white shirts, red shirts. And I said, God, and he said, just keep looking. So I turned, y'all, and I see this man and woman, and they've got 2 kids, but they're talking to another man. So I stepped back, because I said, well, God, that could be my man, because he's wearing a red shirt, y'all. But I stepped back because he was talking to somebody else, and if they had been together, that was not going to be my person, because that would have been 3 adults and 2 kids. Y'all, and while I'm sitting there looking, this girl, the adult, the woman, she's sitting on the cement, y'all, no chair, and she's nursing her baby. Well, about the time I see that, the man walks off. He said, well, y'all have a good day. So I could tell that they were not together. So I walk up to them. Here they are. He's wearing a red shirt. Oh, shoot. I forgot one thing. Let me go back a little bit. Okay, before this, I saw 2 people. I saw a man and a woman and 2 kids. And the man had on a burgundy shirt, y'all. So I said, well, God, burgundy's in the same color scheme, so maybe this is it. So I walked up to them, and they said, well, we would love to take the tickets, but we are part of the big group, and we don't want to be separated. I said, okay. So then I was like, well, God, he said, those are not your people. You keep looking. So anyway, go back to here's this precious mama nursing her baby, and she's sitting on the cement. no chairs, nothing. So I walk up to him and I said, would y'all like to have 4 tickets for the bleachers? I said, they're free. I said, I ordered them. I said, we're not going to use them. And I told him, I said, I've been looking for y'all. I said, I've been out here for about 25 or 30 minutes. And I said, God was very specific who he wanted these tickets to go to. And the man is kind of staring at me, and the woman's staring at me like they're just can't even believe what I'm saying. So I told him, I said, God was very specific. He said that it was going to be 2 adults with 2 kids, and that the man was going to be wearing the red shirt. And I said, you're wearing a red shirt. And they said, well, he looked at his wife. He said, do you want to go sit on the bleachers? She said, I would love to. So I had to give them the tickets, and I walked away. And then I remembered I forgot to tell him this part. So I walked back over there and I said, I forgot to tell you one other thing. I said, God also said y'all weren't going to have chairs and that y'all needed the tickets. And he said, you don't know how much I appreciate this. So I walked away, and I was just so overwhelmed with God and his details. I just started weeping and praising God. And then I went back inside and I saw them sitting in there, and it was the most incredible thing. But like I said, if you are open and you listen, God will use you anywhere you go. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, going to a air show is not religious, but it's something fun that my kids like to do, and my son had friends there, and it was something, you know, just a fun family activity. But God will use you anywhere you go. So thanks for listening, y'all. And, you know, I've had people wanting me to come live with some of my God stories, so I may start doing that. But this one was too much to tell in a text. And thank y'all for listening, and hope y'all have a wonderful, blessed day. And I can't wait to hear some of y'all's God stories. Okay, bye for now.